Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Gears of War Judgment, a third-person shooter from Epic Games. With me today are Impressions. How you doing?
Doing all right.
And back from his unsanctioned vacations is Synyster Dreamer. How you doing today?
Doing good, and I don't care.
Yeah,
I needed it.
yeah. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Gears of War Judgment, the 360 exclusive. Last week we did God of War, which was a PS3 exclusive, so we're balancing out this week. And it just happened to work out that way with the game release calendar as is. So anyway,
And they both happen to be prequels to a trilogy. So,
wow, that is very true.
Yeah, so we evened it out big time.
That worked out very well. So anyway, as always, we always with any franchise talk about previous experiences with them. In my case with Gears of War, I despised the first Gears of War game. I hated it. However, 2 and 3 brought some hope to it. I did enjoy those two. Synyster?
Uh, for me, I actually liked one. Two was okay. Three, I just kind of like really. So it was like I was kind of backwards from you.
Impressions.
I did try playing Gears. I tried starting it twice. So I played through one, like a portion of one. I never got past a certain point for both. And because I never could, I never bothered with 2 and 3. Though I do hear that, the multiplayer was good. That's kind of what made me want to try it. But I I couldn't find the motivation to, or the, you know, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get through it.
Okay. So there you have our past with Gears. So with that, now we're going on to Judgment. As we said, Judgment is a prequel to the original Gears game. It takes place it's a couple of years beforehand, isn't it? Or is it months?
I think it's months before because if I remember correctly, it's just after the war had started.
Yeah.
And it was more or less basically okay, why things fell into where they were for Gears 1, 2, and 3.
Well, to some extent. Anyway, we're going to the story. So the story follows Barrett, right? That's how you pronounce it.
Baird.
Baird.
Yeah.
Baird and his squad of
Are they Gears? They're Gears, right?
yeah,
Yes.
they're Gears.
They're-
Plus the one Onyx girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, it follows their mission through basically from when they first got their orders to doing whatever to kind of going, well, we can't keep in contact, but we're going this way.
Yeah. But the cool thing about the storyline is it's not just a prequel, which it is. The way they tell the story is this is a military tribunal for the characters.
They're at a court-martial pretty much, right?
Yeah.
They're getting court-martialed at the
Yeah,
beginning.
you
Okay.
find this happens with, like I said, it's not re-spoiler. This happens within the first 5 seconds. This is a military trial that puts them for disobeying on orders. So the game goes based. Each character has a set of missions that is basically their testimony in the case, and you just play through their testimonies.
So once again, not only is it a trilogy prequel, but it's also told in flashbacks, very much like God of War Ascension. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we ended up like this, but it was totally planned. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, we'll just go with that.
Yeah, and basically it's each one gets their say of, okay, well, this is how things went, and well, this is how we dealt with it.
Yeah. So in terms of the story overall, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was, I didn't have high hopes. I never have high hopes for prequels for the most part, especially with Gears, because the story was never the strong point of the series. I mean, I said I liked 2 and 3 just because the story was much better than in 1, but even then it was still kind of wonky. I felt the story in this one was a lot better. I felt the characters, I liked the characters in this one a lot better than I liked the original, like Marcus and them. I enjoyed Baird's character a lot more.
The characters wise really worked for this game. Just the fact that how they broke it up instead of it just following one character, and how they broke this one up. It worked really well. And before this game came out, and I heard little bits of it, I was like, okay, it's another Gears. Can they improve? So I was kind of wish-wash with it until I actually started playing it, and I kind of actually started enjoying it.
I would agree. I would speculate that they could flesh out one character well enough, like they did in Gears 1 through 3. So they divided that into giving you pieces of three or four characters, and it was maybe a little harder to keep everything straight, but still, it was more story because you had four storylines pretty much to follow. But aside from that, I did find myself enjoying this one a little bit more. I think it's because I have no idea what happened in one, two, and three, except for like maybe the first 2 hours of one. But it lets me enter this with pretty much no bias whatsoever. And because of that, I actually was, it moved at a pace that I liked as far as the story was concerned. And yeah, I don't know what it was. It was a little easier to move along in this one.
All right. Yeah, I like for me, it's just I like the characters in this one a little better. Marcus was kind of just a muscle head, whereas a lot of these guys had Baird had kind of a sense of humor. Then you had Nikolai, who was like very dark and Russian.
Are any of these characters from Ascension? Do they make appearances in one, two, and three?
Marcus or Baird and Cole.
Baird and Cole make appearances in 1, 2, and 3 because
they're main characters.
They're main characters. Nikolai actually has a very interesting backstory in what goes on, and then I can't remember the female's name.
Sonia? No. It starts with an S.
Yeah, but she had a very interesting kind of story to go along.
Well, the nice thing about this story is we're gonna get to the next part of the review in a second, but the last thing on the story is I kind of want them to do another prequel to this one, just because of Nikolai and Barrett's comments that they make to each other about previously before the Locust showed up, and even with the Onyx storyline, I kind of want to learn more about them as well.
Yeah,
it's set up a lot.
I don't know about another game. Maybe the DLC. I really don't. I don't know if it'll merit a whole other game unless you played more than I did, I would imagine. But
yeah, well, I obviously if they can just do in DLC, do in DLC. But I mean, if they can get me a good, like this one, like I said, I felt they did a really good job with the story in this one. Give me kind of another story like that, but maybe predate it to right before the Locust outbreak and explain the the war that was going on previously that they kind of mentioned between the conversation you get from Barrett and Nikolai and the commander guy that is doing their trial. Is I want to see that a little bit more fleshed out maybe in the next game if they want to, because I can see that doing really well as well, even though it's not Locust.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's enough with story. So now we're getting to the meat of the review, which is obviously the gameplay. Like we said, it's a third-person shooter. If you've played any previous Gears, gameplay hasn't much changed, but for those of you who haven't, we're going to kind of go through this step by step. Gears is very, it's a very common kind of gameplay with third-person shooters. You have a gun, and you just pretty much shoot things. However, Gears is really the first game that I remember really doing the cover system the way it does.
Well, basically, to kind of wrap it up, it's basically Halo third person with a cover system.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
That's pretty much how when Halo and Gears of War 1 came out, it was just like, wait, this is Halo, but in a third person with a cover system.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, we forgot. Throw in the chainsaw. There you go.
That's right. Instead of plasma swords, you get chainsaw bayonets.
Yeah, minus all the jumping that you do with the Halo.
Yeah. No jumping in Gears other than no jumping.
They just have the run thing.
So anyway, cover is very important in this game because you can shoot behind cover, pop up from cover, and it's very easy to get in the cover. You hold the A to run, and then when you hit a wall, they will take cover behind it.
I was really impressed with the cover system, especially with the weapons, shooting from cover, or when you have some of the world weapons you can deploy on cover, pretty much, kind of like bipoding. I don't know, was that in 1, 2, and 3? Definitely, it was not in 1. I'm pretty sure of that.
1 had just the cover system so that you can shoot over. Mm-hmm. They really didn't bring in the whole added, bipod or anything until 3, where they really added more weaponry.
Okay.
But the cover system hasn't changed a whole lot over the games, and honestly, it's one of the better cover systems I've used. I mean, despite my hatred for Gears 1, the cover system worked.
Oh yeah.
And that hasn't changed, which I'm kind of glad they haven't really touched, because it does work really well for this kind of game.
Well, I like the whole fact that it's like, when jumping into this game, I'm like, okay, it's a new game. Let's see. They're probably screwed up the controls. Jump in, and everything is basically as if I was playing 1. It's like, oh, this is run, this is shoot. This is normal Gears controls. Holy crap. Because you figure by the time they get to like a 3rd, 4th game, controls have changed like 4 or 5 times. No. Throughout the Gear series, it's been the same.
No.
What is different then? I guess would be a good question to ask.
Okay.
Having played 1, 2, and 3.
As far as I know, the only real noticeable change is they added extra control to the D-pad, which was a infrared vision. But that's as far as I know. I got about, I think, maybe halfway through the game before I stopped.
Yeah, they don't add anything. The infrared's really the newest gameplay of it. There's other things they added, and we'll talk about those in a second, or in a little bit.
Infrared. We're talking about the down button.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
That's not even infrared. It just shows you. It just kind of more. It's just kind of like a prompt. Can you use that on enemies?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
never. Okay.
the
well,
infrared basically is it turns your HUD into a blue, yellow, and red spectrum, so that if something's warm, you see that warm body on a cool surface, so you can go, oh, there's an enemy behind that wall.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about the one that shows you what the objective is. Yeah. No. Sorry. Yes. That is the. I didn't know that was
Oh,
new.
that's the other added mechanic, is the direction thing, because I know they didn't have that in the first 3 games.
Yeah. That's because they changed once again how the story progresses, and that was a little bit more needed than in previous ones. So anyway, the next thing I want to go into is weaponry. We got to talk about the weapons in this game. I didn't notice really any new weapons from previous ones, but once again, I feel the Lancer is still the most overpowered weapon in the game. And if you don't have it, you're doing it wrong.
Well, there are more guns. They have the base weapons. They have the Lancer. They had the shotgun. They had the Locust weapons. But they also added in a Regal Lancer, which is a... it doesn't have a chainsaw on it.
Oh, the
it
Retro
has a
Lancer.
bayonet.
That's
Retro.
right. I forgot about the Retro Lancer.
Yeah, the Retro Lancer, which just has a bayonet on it, so you run and charge into the enemy.
Still overpowered.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. Does
They
it
had-
does it cut into them? I never.
No. You charge
just-
into them and
Just
stab.
charge.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's like military, the old World War One military. Pop on the blade on front of your gun and just stab the enemy.
Okay.
They had like another upgraded shotgun. That is a different sniper rifle. They had basically would be Russian sniper rifle.
Oh, the non-scope sniper.
Yeah, well, they had a scope version, and the Locust changed it to a non-scope version. Then they had turrets. They had I call it the bigger boom. It was the one-shot big cannon that those big guys would carry, that you charge up and it shot one bullet.
Oh, the one shot. That's called the one shot.
Yeah.
Because it kills everything in one shot.
Oh yeah, I love that mission where I first got my hands on it. I was like, wait, what? Boom.
Yeah, that gun's pretty amazing.
One of the greatest things I ever did was I picked one of those up and then I grabbed one of the Onyx ammo packs and I got like 20 shots.
Nice.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool, this works.
Yeah. One shot's very overpowered, but it's heavy and you have to charge it, and that's why it balances itself out a little bit.
You can't really move too much. It's like you set up and you go.
The other thing I really appreciated was the shield. Was that in other games?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but it just seems to fit very well in Gears because, well, for one thing, it's a shield, but you can also deploy it, stick it into the ground, and use it as cover.
Yep.
So I thought that was a really cool feature, that took advantage of their setup.
Yep. Yeah, I can go on with all the guns, but I'm gonna stop.
We're not going to go into in depth of every gun, but once again, it's very varied in how they do it. And I like, other than the Lancer, which I still think is the most overpowered weapon in the game, just because of the chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's very well done. There's a lot of other new things they've added with the weapons. That, like I said, we can talk about the weapons in this game all day if we probably wanted to, but we're not. So, but I thought I like the weapons in Gears. As simple as that.
Yep.
All right, the next thing I want to go into are the big obvious changes you'll notice is pretty much when you start playing Gears, and if not, by the time you finish the first level, is they've gone from more of the previous Gears, the ways I remember, is you had a linear storyline. Is you started a level, you went through the level, you went through it, and then you started, and then you went to a new location. The way they do it in Judgment is you get a set piece, but that set piece is set up into missions. Each mission, is a little different. It's still, the same area, but they add what's called declassified missions in every single mission. I think every level has 7 missions. Declassified missions add some type of challenge to that mission. So I know a couple of them are, beat the level within this amount of time. A couple of them are beat the level using certain guns, or less visibility, or harder enemies, or something. This is probably the biggest change to Gears.
Yeah, and with the declassification, it also added in a little bit more information to what the testimony is. Because if you do it, you get, they explain more. If you fail it, then you get a gist of what went on with the mission, but, not a full story of, okay, how things went.
Yeah. So in my opinion, I like the declassified missions. I did every single one because first of all, I added a little more challenge to some of them. Some of them were really still kind of easy, but other ones, helped a lot. Like make it a little bit tougher, and I enjoyed that. And the fact that it added more testimony was kind of cool.
I just like the fact that when I first came across, declassified information missions, it's like, oh, and add a challenge, play it. Okay, I'm going for these all the time. It's just like that extra challenge to it just made it more fun and intense for the game for me, because it's like, oh, more, options to try to, find a way to kill myself.
Yeah, it added variety definitely, and it didn't make the game so monotonous in my opinion. However, after a while, I did stop doing them just because I was trying to speed a little through the story a little bit. But aside from unless you're rushing like I was, there's really no reason not to do them.
Yeah, especially on harder difficulties. Those are kind of I played it on normal, and I kind of wish I would have played on harder for some of those challenges because they're fun. I enjoyed some of them.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, they don't hurt the game. They actually help the game. So.
Yeah. Okay, so the next major change to Gears, and probably the last thing we'll discuss, is at the end of every mission, you are giving a rating based on how well you did in that level. These come in the form of stars. You can get 3 per level, and depending on the difficulty, depends on what kind of stars you get. Stars unlock bonus content and other fun things in the game.
And harder difficulties.
Yes, and harder difficulties. The other thing and this is where declassified missions came in and why kind of the other reason that I always did them, is if you do the declassified missions, it makes getting stars easier. Now, the way you get stars are doing the declassified mission, earning ribbons, killing things, and I think that, and had that's medals, but just basically killing things.
Yeah. Killing things in a particular way. Like, you get headshots, you get more. If you dismember, you get more. You do a kill when the enemy's, weakened and they're on the ground. An execution.
Yeah. So, yeah. In terms of worked, I thought it was okay. It was a nice little, it wasn't too difficult, but once again, I was on normal, so I don't know if it gets harder. But I tended 3 stars on everything. It wasn't difficult, but, some levels I kind of wondered why I didn't get it, because I did, the best I could, so.
Well, it all depends on the situation, what was going on, how many times you fell, if you did the mission in a certain amount of time, and all that.
Impressions? Any comment on stars?
Yeah, I didn't care about it. I mean, I just really, my concern was just passing the mission, whether or not I did it a certain way. I mean, the only criteria I cared about were the declassified it, and that's if I did it. But aside from that, it really didn't bug me if I scored low or not. And I had no intention of ever playing the game anyway, so the stars really wouldn't have done much.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing stars do is it unlocks a bonus campaign mission called Aftermath, which takes place towards the end of Gears 3, and kind of explains what happens to Baird and Cole for a little bit.
So it takes place after 3?
It's like right at the end.
Okay, interesting.
Because
yeah, I saw it. I wasn't sure what it was, but it said I needed 40 stars. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I can't do that.
Because in Gears 3, Barrett and Cole disappear for a little bit to go do something, and it explains what they were doing.
Ah.
So there you go. So anyway, but I like the star system. I thought it was a nice little reward system. It's nice that they added something.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, that's it for Gears of War Judgment. So we'll now do our ratings. Here at your Rule of 3, we do not believe in a point system because numbers confuse me and a lot of people, especially because they can be interpreted different ways. Instead, we do a more basic buy, rent, pass system. Buying means we think the game is worth the full price of release, or whatever it is on release, whether it's 50, 60, or whatever. It's just worth whatever they ask for on release. Rents means either rent it from GameFly or Blockbuster or some other form of
Redbox.
Redbox, some form of cheaper system, or wait till it goes down in price, because we don't think it's a terrible game, but it was okay, but it's worth a play, just not worth the full price. Pass means that we want it shot into space and then destroyed by a black hole. That is really what it comes down to. And we'll start with impressions. What would you give Gears of War Judgment, and why?
Honestly, I actually went into this like from the beginning thinking I would give it a pass. I had no expectations for it. I really had you know, no interest in the series. But after playing Judgment, I actually will at least move it up to a rent. I don't know what it was that distinguished itself from 1, 2, and 3. I'm pretty sure it was story and like the super refined gameplay as compared to the series that made it run a little bit better. It was a little smoother, and I don't know why, it just moved at a better pace than the other games for me. So I will at least give it a rent. It's worth playing. It's fun. Any fan of the series will enjoy it.
All right, Synyster.
I gave it a buy. It actually was a game that I had low expectations for, because it's like another Gears game. Okay, it's this prequel. Okay, maybe good. And then when I started playing it, it's like, this actually feels like one, but a bit better. And I actually enjoyed the few new mechanics they threw in, and it was like, actually would like to finish playing this and play it again.
And then I roll Manan. I also actually give it a buy. I went into this one kind of thinking along impressions. I thought I was going to give it a pass or a low rent. I had no expectations for it, really. And I don't know. I think the story, character development in this one I felt was a lot better than in previous ones. At least the character development. The story was still kind of wonky, but it was better in my opinion. And I think I don't know. I kind of liked the declassified mission. I thought that gave it a little bit of replay value and at least challenge. So there's just something about this one, and I really enjoyed it more than I thought it would. And I think I give it a buy because of that.
It was just structured a lot better. I mean,
Yeah.
I really am curious what goes on with the story. So, or with their court martial. So it makes me want to keep playing.
Yeah, like I said, it's overall, it was enjoyable. So there you go. You have a rent from impressions and a buy from me and Synyster. That's it for this video review. Next week is BioShock Infinite.
Woo!
A game that a lot of people have been, waiting to get their hands on. I just got mine a couple days ago in the mail, and I will probably be playing the crap out of it tonight, and every day from here on out until the review's done. Most likely, unless the game sucks, but we'll see about that. I've been trying to stay away from information on it. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell the friends about it. We want more viewers, get more people to watch, and then I can do more giveaways and give away more stuff. Which brings me to the giveaway. This video review will actually not be going towards the Injustice review. This one's going to be going to the next month's review, because you only have 2 days to do a comment on this one if I did that to you, and I don't want to. I want a little bit open. So let's be going for the next giveaway that we will be doing, which will be a Metro Last Night giveaway.
Last Light.
Or Last Light. Yeah. Sorry about that. It's Last Light. You're right. I had the name spelled wrong on my paper. My bad. Anyway, so it'll be a giveaway for that. So make sure to leave a comment for a chance to enter that. That's it. Thanks for listening, and always remember to trust in the rule of 3.